coming out. That means the world to me. You know, I started making films when I was 9 years old. I've been doing this thing for a long time. And it took until this film, until I felt this feeling that I was making something very special. And I just want to thank you guys for being a part of that. It means the world to me, once again. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Hang on a minute, I'd like to say a word if you don't mind. I was briefly in the film. I was honored to be asked. But this is 26 minutes, and 26 minutes of film is the amount of effort that goes into it, it's incredible. It's just the work that goes in for 1 minute of film is incredible. And Illinois has a vibrant film community, and if Ann Hageman's still here, could you come up for just a second? Just a second. Film community in Illinois, and she can talk a little bit about what is going on in Illinois about the film industry.
Oh, well, gee, yeah. Well, for those of you who aren't aware, we have one of the best tax incentives in our state, in the country. 30% tax credit across the line. So anything that's shot in Peoria, Chillicothe, Chicago, Carbondale, 30% across the line. Thanks in part to Dick Wolf, of all the Dick Wolf franchises of Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire. Right after this tax incentive came about in 2008, he was like, ooh, that's a great place to take my shows to. And so it's been growing since then. And these guys are a testament to the fact that you can create great film in areas, whether they be Peoria, Danville, wherever. We have an incredible arts history here. You all know that. For those of you who don't know, we were the king of vaudeville for many, 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 many years. And I've been saying for the past 2 years, while I've been developing a project, there is no reason we can't produce and film short and feature films in Central Illinois. Yes. By the way, guys, it was awesome. What'd you shoot it on?
It was just a HD DSLR at the time, and upgraded since then. But you shoot with what you have, and we just made it work.
And here's what I'm going to say about that. And I'm more of the actress producer than the technician, but I know enough now about it. Yeah. It's not so much what you shoot on, but who's shooting it. And Connor, you were the DP, right? Woo! Yeah. Has one of the best film schools in the country at Columbia. DePaul also has an incredible program. So we have a lot of filmmakers coming out of those programs. So there's a lot going on. Can I take 1 more minute, or? Yes. Okay. Also, what Peoria has that Chicago doesn't have. First of all, we don't have to worry about where to park our grip trucks, right? We're not going to get a big old ticket for doing that. The point is, we could do a film here and make it look like it's worth 5 times as much as if it's done in like a big metropolitan area like Chicago. So when we film my feature next summer, Real Prayers Are Said in German, of which both of these guys worked on the short, by the way, and hopefully, if not both, at least one of them will be working on the feature. I mean, it just depends on your time frame. It's 6 weeks, guys. You're going to be married just for 6 weeks. We are going to utilize the beautiful landscapes that we have in Central Illinois. We're going to utilize the wonderful historic buildings that, thanks to your donations, so don't forget to donate, we still have standing here, like the G.A.R. Hall. We're going to be filming down by the riverfront, our beautiful riverfront. We're going to be filming at the Flanagan House, some of the other historic homes that are here in the area. Whereas in a lot of communities, they've gotten rid of those. Peoria has maintained those. And again, we can show people that you don't just play in Peoria, you can make it in Peoria, right?
Yes.
So, there's film offices now in Springfield, in Champaign, in Chicago, in Carbondale for the Illinois Film Commission. So it's active, it's growing. We don't see any end to these film tax credits, which is awesome for anyone who's investing in the film. And again, it's so affordable now. And because of technology that we have today, I'm assuming you guys edited this, what, in your homes?
On Premiere, yeah.
Okay, all right. So again, though, it's not just the equipment, it's who's doing it. All right? So you want to have talented people like these guys at the helm. Who was your production designer, or did you do that on your own? Okay, so does anybody know what a production designer is? Okay, that's the person responsible for the overall look of your film. And this was obviously 1950s. And you guys are spot on. I'm like, the car, everything was just awesome. And that's important.
Dan Shallow.
Dan! I saw you sitting in front of me and I thought maybe you were on screen, but now we know why you're here. Your car was on screen.
That was in 1959 Plymouth.
Let's see. But that's so important. When the community comes together and you pool your resources, you can come up with great film like this. So again, I don't want it to take any more of your thunder, but you guys.
I'm gonna just real quick and to the point. I have an arts background. I have 14 years of many kinds of dance, voice, piano. I love all kinds of music. I have an eye for talent. And when I first met Will and Connor, it was not that long after I started here. And when I saw what they were doing in the setup, and I had Paul Gordon, my editor, in local theater. You know, everyone knows Paul. And I just was so impressed at their maturity and the work that they were doing. And it's so beautiful to see this come full circle from being there from the beginning to now and seeing what we can do in Peoria. And then also, real prayers are said in German. You know, there's no reason. If you're an art student, if you're 45, if you're 60, film in Peoria. There's no reason. Anyways, thanks.
You guys should stand right down here for a Q&A. If anybody has anything that they want to ask, please give them this.
I recognize, of course, this space, but where were some of the other interiors shot?
So I'd say the other big space interior besides G.A.R Hall, which we're in now, was in the lab, Cornstalk Theater in the basement. That was the whole newsroom scene. We set up and dressed the whole basement in that corner. Yeah. And Will has, you know, methodically saved a bunch of 1950s memorabilia, and we littered the floor with real newspapers from the 50s and typewriters and everything. So that was another set. The interview scene.
You have the 1940s ones?
40s,
Yeah.
maybe, probably. I have some leftover things, so.
I actually want to say something. He was so meticulous about making sure it was period appropriate that he would go back, and if there was just like even a letter of something that was modern, he'd be like, "Oh, we got to redo that, or we got to do something else. We got to take this out, or we got to block it out." I'm like, man, like even this exit sign here in the G.A.R Hall scene. Yeah, he had to go back. Yeah, go ahead and
I had to digitally remove that the top part that's lights, you know, emergency backup lights. So frame by frame in this program, I had to paint it out, Photoshop it out. But it's not, you don't see it. I mean, that's how meticulous I was about it. Yeah.
What for you inspired the film?
Well, that's a really good question. You know, I don't see too many films about the artistic process or kind of what it takes to really make something special. I've always been fascinated by the process of creating things. So following a playwright was something that intrigued me. It started with a short story idea my friend Tyler Smith came up with about this. It was going to be set in modern day, following a horror story writer. And it was a supernatural film, and then we decided to just make it a period piece, make it more character driven, and so that's what came to be. So, any other? Ben?
What's your? There's a lot of cigarette smoking. Do you have a trick?
Yes.
Or did you just smoke a lot?
Well, I did some research. I was watching a lot of Mad Men while we were shooting this, and so I was looking into what they did. They used these herbal cigarettes, but the thing is, you still have to inhale. You know, it's tar free and everything, but you're still inhaling smoke in your lungs. So I'm thinking, okay, how can I? Then I looked into vape cigarettes. And I was still, okay, I don't want to inhale anything in there, but I kind of cheated it. I let it, in my mouth, and I didn't inhale it totally. And then we digitally added the smoke to the end of the cigarette. So
After Effects traced the smoke on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who did your music composition? I didn't catch that.
This man right here.
Woo!
Will is my best friend, and I tell you what, he came to me with this idea to make this film, and all of the ambition, and I remember thinking, if you see some of his other short films, they're, 5-minute things, and, not as developed ideas, but I remember he told me, we took a walk out in the woods, and he told me the whole idea, and I said, I knew this night would come, and I'm so happy for him and for coming. Well, yeah, we originally were to get some string players, but yeah,
I decided to buy a cello on Craigslist, and I don't know how to play cello, but we just recorded some drone sounds, the bow and everything, and it worked. So,
That's a little piece.
Where will this film go from here? What's your next step?
So we plan to enter into film festivals regionally. We're still looking into that. We want to screen it here locally. So tonight was really kind of a test to see what kind of reaction it would get. And just to see if there's any errors or scenes we have to cut. So we're going to have some more screenings. So this won't be the only one. So if you want to invite some other friends that would enjoy this, there's a Facebook page you can follow for the film, Denouement short film on Facebook, and we'll keep posting updates on the status of the film. But we'll be entering into film festivals pretty soon. So
that also means we can't publicly post it anywhere because we would be disqualified from certain festivals. So we can't post it tomorrow on Facebook or YouTube or something like that.
Right.
Not until
Online,
through circulation of the film festival.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you make yourself cry? Or did you
That's a good question.
You're a guy.
Yeah. All right. It's tough. I tell you what. You saw a hybrid of me trying to cry and me yawning. Because when I yawn, my eyes get watery. So in between takes, I'm. Are we ready, Connor?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get
I remember.
So I had to get,
Common for someone your age to be able to act, to produce, and make a film like this? Obviously it is because he does it, but I've never seen it before, but then I'm old.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's pretty incredible today because the technology we have, I reach in my pocket. People can make films off of these things. Anybody can be a filmmaker. Anybody can be an actor. We act every day. So there's a lot of accessibility that there wasn't, many years ago that there is now. So, like I said, I started doing this when I was 9. I started with Legos, making stop-motion animation films. 'Cause my parents had a computer, and I saw some sort of stop motion Lego film on YouTube when it was first kind of starting out. YouTube was, and I thought I want to do that. So I looked into it, and I got my camera, and I've just been doing this thing for a long time. I've read books, watched a bunch of films. So, right? Yeah. Yep.
Well, by the way, I don't think we're in the mid late 20s. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Whoa.
Just turned 21. Yeah.
Why behind your ears?
Are you both self-taught? I mean, as far as programs you use and you know your skill, are you self-taught or did you go to school?
I was self-taught. Like I said, I picked this up when I was 9 years old. And then I've read books and everything. I've watched a bunch of films. I took some classes later on, but of course I was sitting in there and saying, okay, I know this. You know. Not to be naive or anything, but YouTube is a wonderful resource if you want to learn anything. I mean, there's so many tutorials for these complicated programs. I told you about digitally removing that thing. I had to go look on YouTube at how to do that. So, yeah.
I'm pretty much self-taught as well. I'm a little bit older than Will. I'm 25, but I did go to ICC and then Carbondale for a brief time, and I was in California for a little bit. But I've always had that creative side. Yeah, YouTube, the same thing, Vimeo, learning from when I was really young, just how to even just edit a very basic piece together. And most of it was just very like stupid comedy, little bits, but if you keep practicing, you can kind of make something like this.
So I'm glad you went with a hopeful ending. What do you sort of want people that watch this, what do you want them to come away with from this story?
I made this film because I want to show the power of forgiveness and true love and what that consists of, and forgiving somebody even knowing how terrible they can be. We all need to love each other. And so that was important for me to end on that note. I mean, it's called denouement, and denouement means, if anybody, I mean, this is a question we always get. What does denouement mean? It's a literary term. It's French for the point of the story where everything comes together. It was a word my friend Tyler Smith, who helped write the film, approached me with, and I thought, that's it. That's the title. And that's kind of what the film's about. You know, it kind of goes to a cliche route, but at the end, there's this kind of poetic catharsis. And I want people walking out of the theater having hope and taking something from it. So, yeah.
How the baby died?
How the baby died? That's one thing I didn't disclose. I mean, it's set in the 1950s. I thought some sort of respiratory thing or something they didn't know about, some illness. These things happen. So, yeah. Yeah, that could be that. I wanted, in order for the character to feel guilt, because Bear wanted the main character in the film. We wanted some reason for Anthony's death because it was just out of the blue, and so he started blaming himself, and that's what drove him to addiction. So, yeah.
How much of the character and the things the character was saying are opinions that you hold? How much do you relate to the character? Because obviously you're not an alcoholic.
No.
That I know of. So, but there were, having conversations with you in the past, I caught little tidbits that, to me, I could see some of you coming out of the character. So.
Right. Yeah. So the character is loosely based off Tennessee Williams.
Okay.
And he had some alcohol. He was dealing with alcoholism, and so I watched a bunch of interviews for character study of him, and some of the things he said I kind of paraphrased in the character. And then there was some moments where I felt inclined to say something through the character.
So would you say that you learned things about yourself studying the character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Damn.
I just have a question about the process. the visual was so interesting and intricate, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just curious, do you picture that in your head? Or does a lot of that come out in the editing? Like, oh, we can do this. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, the script is one story, and filming you have another chance to tell it or ruin it, and then in editing is a whole nother storytelling element that you get to adapt. But I asked Will to do storyboards for me as the director of photography, so I could understand the framing and scenes. And some of the things, you know, you plan as much as you can, but some things go wrong, and so we adjusted some things on the fly. We tried really not to do that on this film because we were like trying to approach it as like the most professional thing we can. But it happens, and some of the things were really nice moments that we actually kept in the film too. But for the most part, we did plan out everything except for a couple of spots. Yeah.
I know that there's a story behind it, but I don't know if you want to disclose it or not. About how you decided on the order of the scenes.
Order of the scenes. Oh yeah. So the film's nonlinear, and it was important for me because when I wrote it chronologically first, and it just wasn't working, and it felt too not as immersive. And so I was thinking, okay, how can I make this interesting? And so I heard techniques that Christopher Nolan, he's a filmmaker, he came out with Inception and did the Batman films. He made a film early on in his career called Memento. And part of his process of writing that film is he threw plot point cards. So what you do, down the stairs, and he would, plot point cards, so he would write points of the plot, such as Baird gets into the car, or blah, blah, blah. And then he would just throw the order down the stairs, and whatever order they landed on would be the film. So I kept doing that for multiple times until something came out of that. And so yeah, that's how the narrative came together.
I thought that was cool because the title is Denouement, and it's like you don't know anything really until the very end, which is the denouement. You know,
right.
So that was cool that you did that.
Yep.
What aspects of the character do you think will stick with you now that the film is over, that you'll carry on?
That's a really good question. There's a lot that won't stick with me. I guess, really dedicating your life to something. Commitment, passion. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's a hard question.
How long did this take you to film and produce then?
You know the times with that.
Yeah. Okay.
If you know.
Right. 2015. That's when we started working with the idea, the concept, and then I wrote it over that summer, and then I was trying to think, okay, who do I want to film this? I gotta have who's gonna be my right hand man, pulling the ropes with me. And so I was, thinking, overthinking. I was going online, going on these networking sites and everything. And then Aaron and I were hanging out one night, and we were outside my house, and he just said, "What about Connor Parkhurst?" And then I thought, why did I not think of that? And so I approached him that winter, and we got together, talked about it, and then planned and started shooting in the summer of 2016. So, and then it took us a whole year to edit this thing. We finished
3 hours ago.
So if I was kind of in this mood when you guys were entering, I apologize. I was thinking, okay, what else can go wrong, But yeah.
To think that's only half an hour. People make feature films. Holy moly.
It's insane.
So would you ever think about expanding this into a feature film ever in some distant future, maybe?
Possibly, if it developed enough interest, if there were some people, funders or distributors, I consider it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's from the G.A.R. that let you do this here.
Molly Bishop.
Where's Molly Bishop? Is she here?
She came up with it.
Why did you let them do this here?
What?
Why did you let these guys do this here? This is a great space.
I think I saw the space like we was vision, and they were they're good salesmen. We were thrilled. We've had music videos here, shot here. We've had photography shoots here. Lots and lots of weddings and other things like that. But it was just so much fun.
Well, this is a wonderful place that you have. So it's a pleasure to be here.
You want to know a little bit about the hall?
Yes.
We were built in 1909. So this building is over 100 years old. If you look underneath the curtain, right over here, before you leave, Peoria's Union Civil War soldiers are in this photo from 1906. So many of them smoke cigars in here, have whiskey, have social events, and we have the ladies of the G.A.R. too in here. So this was a social function. And CILF was formed, Central Illinois Landmark Foundation was formed in the early 70s by Les and Theo Jean Kenyon and others to save this building from being turned into a parking lot. Thank you.
In a play here in 1999, the Andersonville trial, which you have the Andersonville,
We have a lithograph, original lithograph.
and that's why it was done with Bob Lucas and Mary Strauss.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're just gonna mingle, so talk to us if you want. But yeah.
Woo!